Yo guys, what's going on? It is Tim Burzens here from Amplify Metabolism, and in today's video I want to talk about a little bit something more practical, something that is less biochemistry based. I mean, we're still going to talk about biochemistry, of course, but it's going to be more physique oriented, fitness oriented. And specifically we're going to be talking about why metabolism is so powerful for helping your ability of your body to grow muscle, to actually adapt to your weight training sessions, put on the extra size, and all that good stuff. So with that, let's just jump right in. So in most views of muscle growth, it's people always say that you have to have a calorie surplus. You have to be eating more calories than you're burning in order to turn those calories into muscle. And that's not quite how it happens, but it is on the right track. And the biggest problem here has to do with total calorie burn, total calorie flux, how many calories you're burning and how many calories you're eating. Because if you're eating something like, if you're eating 2,000 calories, but your metabolism is only 1,500 calories a day, your muscle building efforts are going to be far worse than if you were burning, say, 3,500 calories a day and you were eating 4,000 calories a day. That 500 calorie surplus is the same in either case, but because you're eating so many more calories and your metabolism is so much higher, you're actually going to be able to grow muscle and recover way quicker. The big part of that is because of where you end up on the metabolism spectrum, what the hormonal situation looks like, and that is all going to play into your partitioning, your nutrient partitioning, which is basically where nutrients go when you eat them and where they're burned from when you burn them. Now, eating in a calorie surplus is helpful because it naturally ramps up your metabolism, it naturally ramps up the hormonal situation. But if you're not eating right and you're actively suppressing your metabolism while still eating in that calorie surplus, then you're only helping fat gain. You're not actually going to be helping your muscle gain to any significant degree. And specifically, that's why people like people who are ectomorphs, who have a hard time gaining weight because their metabolism is so high, that's how they stay so lean when they're gaining all that muscle. Because even though they're eating in that surplus, their metabolism is so high, their hormones are all good, and so the nutrient partitioning is going more towards muscle and staying away from fat. My friend Trent over at Ectogain is a master at helping skinny guys gain muscle, so if that's you, please go over there and check it. You'll be glad you did. So let's dive into exactly what the high metabolism state will look like if you, from a training perspective, like what's actually happening training-wise that's making it better. So the first thing we'll start with is the obvious one, thyroid hormone. When your metabolism is high, thyroid hormone is high, you're pumping out lots and lots of energy. So there's a lot of reasons that's important that are like kind of sub-reasons as far as like insulin sensitivity, liver glycogen, and we'll get to those in a second. Probably one of the biggest one is that thyroid hormone is needed in order to create any of the steroid hormones, including the biggest muscle builder of them all, testosterone. So in the bloodstream, thyroid hormone is required in order to create pregnenolone, which is the mother of all steroid hormones. Everything, all the steroid hormones, progesterone, DHEA, testosterone, all of those, they come from pregnenolone. Pregnenolone gets converted through them. And in the bloodstream, thyroid, cholesterol, and vitamin A will all combine and they'll create pregnenolone. So without enough thyroid hormone, those protective steroid hormones are going to be suppressed. And I've talked about that in other videos, but that's why it's so crucial to make sure that you have enough thyroid hormone coming out, but that you also have enough vitamin A and your nutrient status is good and all that other good stuff. But in addition to that, the only way your thyroid hormone is ever going to go up is if you're decreasing the stress hormones and allowing your body to recover and allowing that oxidative metabolism to ramp up. Because what happens in the stress state when you're on the low side of the metabolism is that you're constantly producing lots of adrenaline and cortisol just to meet the energy requirements that your cell has. So basically the big problem with stress is that your cells are able to produce a certain amount of energy, but they need to produce more. And so they make that up by ramping up glycolysis of carbs, by ramping up their fatty acid oxidation. And they're doing that with cortisol and adrenaline. Now, in addition to that, cortisol is breaking down your protein stores, your muscle protein stores, for glucose to help supply that process to go on. So the big thing to realize is that you're actively hurting your muscle's protein synthesis and your muscle's protein retention whenever you're chronically activating cortisol for the long term, especially in the context where you don't have all the protective steroid hormones that are going to be helping your muscles, helping to protect your muscles. So cortisol does have some effects that are necessary, especially like waking up and helping you to stay like alert and handle stress. But it has to be in a context where you're being protected by the other hormones. Otherwise, you get all the negative effects, which is why acute cortisol is good, chronic cortisol, not so good. Now, in addition to that, one of the reasons that cortisol and adrenaline are ramping up is because your carb stores are just getting depleted. in any kind of chronic stress, your body isn't able to use those carbs for the oxidative metabolism, and you end up burning through them with glycolysis and focusing more on like fat burning and breaking down protein for those stores. So in addition to that, your insulin sensitivity ends up tanking because of the Randall effect, which is basically fatty acids and glucose will compete for entry into the cell. So anytime a lot of lipolysis is happening where fatty acids are going into the bloodstream, all of your cells will start to not respond to insulin and not respond to glucose as well because those fatty acids are competing. So basically those fatty acids are lowering your insulin sensitivity, making it harder for you to store those carbs as glycogen. And if you can't store glycogen, then you can't go a long time without food or without turning on the stress response. Because as soon as you start to go a long time without food, your carbs go down, fatty acids go back up, creating more of that negative spiral of the insulin resistance that we don't want. But by increasing your metabolism and increasing the amount of glycogen you can store through increasing your insulin sensitivity, all of those things end up getting corrected. Your liver is able to work better, and the big part of that is that your liver has more glycogen, has more carbs, and that actually helps it helps the conversion of T4, the inactive thyroid, thyroxine, into T3, the active thyroid hormone. And since that's where 2/3 of the T4 gets converted to T3, your liver is so important for your metabolism. It's not just the thyroid gland, it's actually your liver that's doing almost more than half of the work converting that T4 into T3. So by having more liver glycogen, by having more carbohydrate stores in general, helping your liver stay healthy and active, you are actually helping create more of that thyroid hormone, which is important for the steroid hormones that we already talked about. And the final point, which is related to all of these, kind of if you want to rope them all together, increase T3, increase steroid hormones, reduce stress, and increase insulin sensitivity and liver glycogen storage and muscle glycogen storage, is faster recovery. So all of this ropes into making it so that whenever you have some stress, you go to a workout, you're lifting heavy weights, and you need to recover from that, you're able to recover so much quicker because of all those things, all those good hormones, all the carbs, everything. And because you're eating more calories in general, even though the surplus is the same, you're actually supplying more carbohydrates for your body to recover from that training to perform in the actual weight training session. And all in all, you end up with a recovery that is helping you to grow faster, to recover faster, to hit workouts harder, to perform better. And all of that's obviously going to lead to better muscle growth. So that is all I have for this video. Like I said, just a quick recap. Increased metabolism means increased thyroid hormone, which means increased steroid hormones, which means more protein synthesis, more protein retention, which also means less stress or ability to cope with the stress hormones, the adrenaline, the cortisol, that normally negatively affect protein synthesis. And then in addition to that, you're actually increasing your insulin sensitivity so that your muscles and your liver can actually use carbs more efficiently, ramping up the oxidative phosphorylation, staying away from that glycolytic metabolism that is producing lactic acid and is not helping with actual recovery, with actual burning of energy within the cells. And because you're increasing more insulin sensitivity, you have more liver glycogen, you can go longer without food, you can convert hormones better, and actually that's one of those positive spirals because you're able to create more T3, which goes back into the whole thing with the steroid hormones, and it's all good. All helping each other to improve your metabolism as long as you have all the right things in place. So I hope you got a lot out of this video. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Try to get this information out to as many people as I can. If you haven't taken the metabolism quiz, do that below. It'll tell you where you're on the metabolism spectrum and give you some further steps based on where you are. And if you want my full course, Ignite Your Metabolism, that link is also in the description. And that's a full-blown course with over 350 studies backing it, showing how to increase your metabolism and improve your health in all your areas, which will help you grow muscle, just like we've been talking about in this video. If you are an ectomorph who needs help growing, eating enough, growing muscle, need help with training and stuff like that, be sure to check out Trent's YouTube channel, his blog at Ectogain, ectogain.com or Ectogain on YouTube. And he'll be able to hook you up with some really good advice there and tell him I sent you. And I think with all of that, I think we are good. I'm going to put a little link here to subscribe to my channel. Please do that as well. I'm trying to build this as much as I can. And with all of that, I think I'm done. I think I'm good. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that you continue smelling and looking fantastic as you are right now. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.